And then we have Emefa, we have Nanette. All right. Okay, and then we have other people. Okay, we have people from the other cohorts, the part-time cohort, that are interested in seeing what you have to show. And then other people that are joining us too. So welcome, everybody. This is the final presentations, or the final project presentations of FS11 full-time. So that's it. We have two groups, okay? First, we're gonna start with Amanda, Andrea, Bea, Elizabeth, okay? And then we go with Sophia, Nor, Sename, and so on. Is that okay? All right. So I'm gonna record this, by the way. So everybody just know that I'm gonna record this. If you don't wanna be in the record, you can just put your camera off or whatever. Okay. I'm going to give you sharing permission. All right, that's it. So the first group, when you're ready, you can start. All right, come on.
Hello, so my name is Amanda, and I'm part of the group, which is called Group It, for a very long time called Group B. And so the four of us have created this web app, which is meant to help you organize your online resources. The reason to that came from the fact that, like, I think all of us had this kind of like, okay, I'm just going to bookmark it anywhere in a folder on its own. This link is great. I'm just going to email it to myself. I'm going to put a reminder onto my phone, but actually will ignore this reminder at the day I'm meant to actually read it. So we wanted to solve this problem. And our problem statement was like, how can we better organize our online resources and ensuring that we are actually using them? So all of that is, of course, related to our personal experience because we all rely very heavily on digital materials for our learning. We also we're finding like difficult to organize them because they come in several shapes, videos, readings, and like they're coming from several locations. Can be a link into your newsletter or like just like something randomly that pop up in front of you. So, and we also wanted to make sure that we are actually using these resources. So we also wanted for this project that it's something quite real, as like something we will be actually using, not some unicorn project somehow. So yes, so in terms of like the way we organize ourselves, so we have worked quite collaboratively at different stage. We have started like first by designing more or less the big picture of what we wanted. So we have like had like some kind of brainstorming. We have wireframed our app. We have prioritized our features, and then we step by step moved on in more of like a backend thinking. So we have used the schema to design our database. Which we have iterated as well. We also have, we went on like creating our endpoints, which we also iterated upon to kind of like these endpoints were meant to reflect equally the logic of the database, but also the logic of the product itself. And we also started like working on our features, like creating the components and also installing the authentication bit of it. We also thought it was important to test it as an average user, which has also helped us to create a much like flower navigation for the user. We realized like we needed some links, some menus here and so on. So it was like a good way of like assessing that. And we have wrapped up by styling the web app and also by writing our README, our documentation, with the list of our endpoints. So yeah, so in terms of tech stack, so what we actually used for this project, so a diversity of technology. So we have on the database side, we have used MySQL, also SQLize to migrate it. We also use for the schema database designer. I think it's just called DB designer. For the backend, we were using Node.js, Express, and Axios for our requests. We have, if I just go like a little bit further down, we have also special tools we have used for some special features such as node mailer, which was about like resetting passwords, and cron, which is about like scheduling reminders. To make sure before we actually create our components and also along the way to make sure we're not messing up and we're getting what we wanted, we have tested. We have checked what we're doing via the Postman and the dev tools, which also found it handy on styling. And then we also, so as a matter of fact, we use HTML and JavaScript in the context of React. And we also had a React router DOM to have like more dynamic routes within the app. So in terms of like styling, we equally use CSS and Bootstrap, and we have deployed with Heroku. For the housekeeping, good tools, we have used Visual Studio Code, and we have also used Git, which then also led us to use GitHub. And GitHub equally on the project management side, so we use GitHub project board, but also for the collaboration via branching in and out and mastering the branching at some point, hopefully. And also at the level, at the time of like brainstorming and also along the way, we have used Miro for the brainstorming part, but also InVision for the wireframing. That was very handy to have. So yeah, and now I'm going to let Andrea take over.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. So let me share my screen first. So first of all, can you see it, right? Okay, good. So first of all, I'm going to talk to you about our database schema. So because it was the first thing we had to do when we wanted to build our app. So as you can see, we have 3 tables. The first one is the user table. We only need few things like the name, username, email and password. These last 2 fields are used by the user to log in. Afterwards, they have set up an account, and we also have the ID to identify the user later on. Then the second table is the topics one. This one, we only need like the topic name. When we are referring to topic, it means that, for example, you can divide your resources by interests or general topics, and then you can divide this general topic in other subtopics or subcategories. So when we were first thinking of it, we did 2 tables for this, one for the topics and one for the subtopics, but then thanks to Terminal, we realized we were like duplicating the table as the information or the fields we had were the same in one table and the other. So we finally decided to do one unique table, and the way we have set the relationship between topics and subtopics is thanks to this column that is called parent, that if we set this column as a null value, means that we are talking about a general topic, like the bigger one. And if we set the parent with an integer, with a number, and this number belongs or is the same as the topic, like the parent topic, the general topic ID, it means that it's a subtopic from this topic. I don't know if it's okay, it's understood. And then that's why we can see this arrow that is indicating that is the foreign key for the ID of the topic. And then we have a third table that is the resources one. So once the user has set or indicated well, his or her topics and subtopics, you can also add these resources that are the online links that you want to add or to have in a list to take into account later. These resources, it's also quite simple. The table, we have the resource name that these inputs are set up by the user. We have the URL, the format, meaning if it's a video, a podcast, a reading, a website. Then you can also set up if it's a topic that it's a priority to you. And then if it's completed or not, it means that if you've gone through that link or is still pending to check it. And also a reminder, you can set up a reminder, and this field should be like the date of the reminder. It was something that we changed later on. So once everybody has understood this schema of the database, the second step was building the backend. For this, we have a folder here, this one, with backend endpoints. We did, well, in my first project, I did all the endpoints in one file, and I learned that we have to use different files. So we've done 3 for these 3 tables, and this other file, the reset password, it will be explained by my colleague Elizabeth, because she was the one who implemented this feature. But as you can see, this users.js file is the one we use to reach the data of the users table in the database. The main methods are the usual ones, like the get, for example. We have it here if we want to get the user's information in the profile. Also, we did this one. We are not using it yet because it would be in the case we have another role as an admin that needs to get the whole list of users, then we can use this endpoint, but so far we are not using it. This one to register the user, it's a post method also for the login. And the last ones are, for example, if you want to update your profile, there's also this possibility. Or if you want to delete it, it's not yet also in the real app, but we could use it if the user wants to delete his or her account. I would like to highlight that as our asynchronous functions, there are 2 ways to doing them. One is one way is the then catch method, and the other way is the async wait syntax. They just do the same. The only thing it's, well, the syntax, and the async await, you need to wrap it in the try catch statement. It's in both ways because all of us worked in the endpoints, and ones preferred one way, some others prefer the other, but everything works fine. And as you can see, we also used some guards to make sure the user is logged in, and this user is able to work or to see all the features of the app. We have more guards also that will be explained later. And the topics and the resources files for the endpoints are pretty much the same, only adding some of the different guards we needed for each function. And yes, and now my colleague Bea will explain about wireframes and the components.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea. Do you see my screen? Okay. So after a couple of days of talking about the database and a couple of days of brainstorming, we realized that actually talking about the app wasn't that clear, so we needed to have an actual image of what we were going to do. So before presenting each component, I will show you the wireframe and how we actually decided to divide the components. So this is the main structure of the app. Some components have been changed during the process, depending on what we felt that it was better. So we start from a home page with the name of the app and a sign in or a sign up buttons. Then we have a register page where the user can register, and a login page. This redirects to the login page. And after this, we have 2 pages separated, one to insert the topic and subtopic, and one to insert the resources to better differentiate the things that we wanted to add. An interesting part that will be explained later is this part here, the one that is called subcategory, because as Andrea mentioned, at first there was another database, and then we decided to do the parent thing. So this has been built in a specific way that Amanda will explain later. And after inserting topic and resources, we have a main dashboard. The dashboard would show you the topics and the subcategories of each topic, but not the resources. The resources will be shown after you click on one topic, and you can see this other dashboard where for each topic, you see the topic as a whole, so with all the subcategories and the resources. And if you're more interested in just one specific subcategory, you can click on it and see the list of all the resources of that subject, let's say. What we meant about, for example, as topic or subtopic, a whole topic, for example, is programming, and a subtopic, for example, is front end. So here you would have all the resources about the front end, and here all the resources about styling, for example, depending on what the user is interested in. And then we have the profile page of the user. This is a very first option that we thought about. At the end, we made it different. We wanted to have, for example, here a list of all the categories that the user is interested in, but we decided not to put it. And for example, the progress, we would have liked to give the app something that has a percentage of the progress of all the resources that has been read, for example. But it's probably going to be a future feature because, yeah, we couldn't implement it right now. So yeah, this was the wireframe of the app. So at the beginning, we decided to give for each page a component, and that's how we first thought about the components, and to each one of us work on a different component. And then for some specific parts of each page, maybe the login, logout button, etc., they have a specific component. But the first division was based on this wireframe. So now we can start explaining each component, and starting from Elizabeth, if I'm not wrong.
Let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen? Oops, you've all disappeared. Right, okay, so I'm going to start walking you through our final product. I'm on the live app just now on the homepage. As you can see on the left, you've got a bit of information about what the app is, what it does, and you have the option to either create a new account or to sign in if you've used it before. So we're just going to go onto the register page. It's asking you for a name, username, and email address, and a password. So I'll just clearly used this before, and just click register. So that's the user added to the database now, because I've been redirected to the login page. So in terms of the registration, we've used JSON Web Tokens, or JWT, to encrypt the password to make sure it's all secure. And as we've used SQLize, we've actually implemented the encryption on the user's model rather than in the endpoints, which prevents repetition later on. For example, when updating the password, you don't need to encrypt the new password again. It just gets done automatically as the user goes through the process.
Right, so I'm going to have to, I want to show you the reset password function that I built, which is relying on a node mailer. And that was the one thing, of course, that broke when we deployed. So I'm going to have to switch to my local environment, which I've got over here, just to show you that it does actually work. And I'm sure we'll get around to fixing it at some point. So I'm on the login page. I forgot my password. I can click on the forgot password link and I come to this beautiful looking page where I can enter my email address. And I should then receive an email with a link to reset my password. So I'm just going to send that email. I get a wee confirmation that the email's been sent. And if I go into here and refresh, there it is. So I can click on the link and I can reset my password. I don't know, I need to make sure to set to something I haven't used before. And I get a wee notification that my password has been changed. I'm going to walk you through how that works in a minute. And then if I go to the login page, I can log in with the new password that I've just set up. So if I just go back out, so right, so I'm going to walk you through how that reset password function works. So again, it's using JSON Web Tokens, and like I said, it's using a node mailer, and it's reliant on 3 endpoints in the backend. The first one is this one here, just the reset password endpoint. The user enters an email address. This endpoint goes into the database, finds the user with that email address, and then creates a unique token that's getting sent to the user. And that can only be used once. So when that token is created by combining the current user password with the date the user was created and then encrypted. So, and that ensures that it can only be used once, because if I change my password, that token changes and I can't use a previous link that I've received before. So if I go back into my email here, I think from 2 hours ago, that should be broken now. So I've used an old link and I can't get to the reset password screen. So that's this endpoint. Then the second endpoint is here. This is the endpoint that gets hit when the user clicks on the reset password link in the email. And basically all this endpoint does is to verify that the token, which gets appended to the URL, is correct. And if it is, it shows a form for the user to re-enter, to enter a new password. If the token's incorrect, then the user just gets kicked out and receives an error message. Assuming that all is good, I'll reach the last endpoint here, which is the one that actually updates the password. Again, the first thing the endpoint does is verify the token to make sure that between the email got sent and that the user actually resetting the password, it hasn't been changed. So I think that's the most important check. We said that needs to be done at this point. And then if the token is correct, the password that's stored in the database gets updated with a new password, and then the user can then log in. Right, if I go back here, right. So then in terms of the actual login feature, I'm back on the deployed live app now. So what we've done is we've used the React use context hook to have global state rather than creating our own local state that gets passed through all the components or use Redux. So we've just opted for that option. The way this works is, or the way what we've done is we've built an authorization component that wraps the entire app. So the entire app has access to the information of whether the user is logged in or not. And the way this works is through a custom hook, which exports 3 pieces of information. One is a state of is the user logged in or not? This is what all further logic is based on. And then it also exports 2 functions that allow the app to interact with that state, namely the sign in and the sign out function. So if I log in, so at the moment, I'm not logged in, so I can see the register and the login options here. As soon as I log in, that disappears. And I can now see a dashboard and a lockout button, as well as a menu on the left-hand side. And that is rendered basically conditionally based on the current state of the user. Am I logged in? I'll see the dashboard. Am I logged out? I'll see the login button. Yeah, and I think it's Amanda next with the next steps of the app.
Thank you. So let me share my screen. So as you may remember from Bea's presentation of the wireframe and Andrea's presentation of the database, we have one particular page that has like this nested table, which is the insert topics page. So it's like literally where the user will add his topics and subtopics. So if I just like get your attention to the top right of my screen, which you can see, right? Like it's, you're seeing, yeah, okay. The top right of my screen, this is a table that is mostly influencing, like mostly connected to this page, not only, but the main one. So as you can see, so here, like the idea of this table is like a topic and a subtopic are the same, but we need to differentiate them somehow in terms of like the way we wanted to tackle this project. So the idea here is like we have a parent here that, as explained by Andrea, we have a parent that when it will have children, the children will take the parent ID. I know it's a bit abstract right now, but I'm just going to explain to you by like doing a little demo. And I'm under my local environment so that I can much easily show you the MySQL database. So for example, I just want as a user to learn programming. I consider it as a priority. And then I'm just going to add it as a topic. That's my aim, learn to program. I want to add like a subtopic to it. Let's say it's React.js, because everything is built under React at the moment. And then automatically I will get the parent topic within my drop-down menu, which is programming. It's a priority. Yes, it is. So I'm adding it to my subtopic. Something I just forgot very quickly to mention, a little break, is this is how our database, our table topics is built and like the data types you are expecting from it. So we are having like I'm just going maybe to go here. So we have like a user, which is user number 5, the one I'm currently using. This is like the different topic name, the priority level, which is based on a Boolean logic. And over here, you have the parent. When marked null, it's a top level parent, top level topic. When it has a little integer here, it's referring back to this column here, which is the ID, so which is a parent topic. So as you can see here, I've already tried it out, but like programming is located at number 1. React, which I've just done here, but it's not this current table. React is taking over, is like a subtopic of parents. So it's taking over the ID of the parent topic, number 1. So just as a way of like showing how it works live, let's see how it's printing it, this React.js within programming. And we can see we're following the same logic. So programming is located at number 1, and React is the baby child of topic number 1. And then let's try. I'm just going to add another topic here. Let's say it's view.js, which unfortunately I can't consider it right now as a priority because I need to learn React thoroughly. But I'm adding it as a topic. And then let's see how it goes into the database. It's printing it as like a child of programming, parent topic. And just for the sake of like the argument, you can see here, I didn't set view as like a priority. So it's marking it as a 0 in terms of priority, as a priority column, as a Boolean. 1 is priority, 0 is none. So just for the sake of the argumentation, I'm just going, I'm so sorry, I can't clear like that, but I'm just going to add another topic. Let's say I want to learn to dance. Unfortunately, I don't make it a priority right now because I need to learn to program. But I'm still adding it. Let's see, does it actually print? Yes, dance it's printing, and it's located at topic ID number 4. Because we are a topic and a subtopic are the same. So it's not like one is taking over the other one. Then it's a nested table. So normally, if I want to, if everything works fine and I'm adding a subtopic to dance, the logic would be that the parent of this new subtopic will be taking over topic ID number 4, which is the dance topic. So let's see if it works. So as part of like dancing, the particular dance I want to learn is ballet. So let's see. So I add it to like the dance topic. I'm going to put it as a priority just because I can and I want it. And so we are adding here a new subtopic of ballet. Let's see how it looks like in the database, the same. So it's the same logic as programming. So, and it's line itself below dance as number 5 as a topic ID, but it's also taking over the parent topic number, which is number 4, so dance. So this is how it's how this table is programmatically working, if that makes sense. Of course, like this ID, like we didn't come up with that like that, because initially we had 2 tables to separate them. So next, I'm just going to just show you a little glance at the code. This is this page, so I just as a reminder, contains 2 forms. This has been for us some kind of like more of a product decision because we wanted to, it's an organizing tool. So we wanted the user to be able to acknowledge what he considered was a topic and what he considered was like a subtopic. So what is a parent and what is a child of it. So this page has 2 forms, which then therefore require 2 requests made to the database. We also have 3 guards that can play to tag along. So we have like, of course, the user should be logged in, otherwise they can't access any of this page. And we need to make sure that the topic actually exists, but also that it's actually belong to that user, to that specific user. As you could have seen in the table, I was using user number 5, not another, there was no mix up of user because I was logged in with this user. So in this idea of like adding a topic, we had to, of course, create a state with this topic to actually grab this topic. And we post it into the database via Axios like we did everywhere. And then like to be able to offer this drop-down menu that you have seen over here with the parent topic there displayed, we had to actually get the topics, the parent topics back. So this idea of like a null, as you could have seen on the last column, we have like an entry as null, which was marking it as like a parent topic, which was like actually set up straight into the endpoint itself, which is over here. I don't know if that's visible. And then like we also have made another request to get this parent topic, which is based on null.
I'm sorry, I need to, just for a second. We also have the other group to present, so
okay.
we should start wrapping it up, okay?
Okay, all right, okay. Well, that's it. Then So yeah, so it's just like we are just fetching 3 times and we are just adding up further states to keep them in place. And now it's Bea.
Sure. So I'll try to make it fast but understandable. So we are logged in, we added our topics and subtopics. So now what we see is our dashboard. And as you can see, you have your topic here and your subtopic per topic down here. Okay, so I will show you both this page and the topic page. The topic page is the one that you reach after clicking on the topic. And here you can see all the subtopics and the resources per subtopic. Now, the 2 pages are built in the same way. And the cool part that I want to highlight here is that I only had to use one database here for both pages. So first of all, it's interesting that here I have topics and subtopics, but I only have one state because at the end of the day, the subtopics are topics. So I didn't have to create a state also for the subtopics. So here, when you have to return, you actually just have a map inside another map. They're nesting. They're nested. Sorry. And this is how you can get a list inside another list, let's say. And the same thing happens when you go to the topic page, even if these are the resources actually. So actually here I had to create 2 states. One state is just for the title, because actually this is the topic and not the subtopic title. But other than that, the structure and the logic is the same. And if I show you here the endpoints is because of these 2 lines here, and the same happens for the other one. So since we built the whole logic on the backend, the front end was quite easy to build actually. Now, from this page, actually you can reach this page both from here and for the dashboard. You can reach it both from here and if you click on the name on of the page. But of course, if you click here, you will reach the resources page, but the insertion of the resource and the resource dashboard are for Elizabeth and for Andrea after me.
Right, okay, I'm just going to quickly walk you through how to add resource. I'll make that fairly quick. Let me just share my screen again. Okay, so now I'm on the page where you can add a new resource. At the moment, you can only add a resource to a subtopic, not to an actual parent topic. So I don't know, let's just add something here, node. It's pretty self-explanatory, really, what it's asking you to do. I've used a nice slider because I've always wanted to use it. I think it's really cool. Then you can select whether you want to complete it or not. Well, is it complete or not? Probably not if you're just adding it. And then you have the option to specify whether you want a reminder or not. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you just select a date, add the resource, and then you can see the resource gets added to the relevant section on the resource dashboard. If I just go back to that screen here, unfortunately I can't demonstrate it to you again. So if you select to have a reminder sent to you here, it will send you an email on the day that you want the reminder. I've used NodeMailer and NodeCron for that, but as NodeMailer broke, it's not currently available in production. So I have to use my my local environment again, or to show you anyway. And basically all I've done is I've set up a little cron job here that runs every day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it goes into the database and fetches all entries that have the reminder value set to true and where the current date is that day. So today would be the 19th of March. So it would get all entries that have reminders set to true and where the reminder date is 19th of March. And then all it does basically, it goes into the database, and for each resource it gets up here, it just gets the user information and the email address for that user, and sends a beautiful looking reminder email that you have a resource that you should probably do something with. Yeah, so, but like I said, it's not currently available in production because we need to sort out a node mailer. And then I think, is it Andrea, you're next?
Yes, I go next. Just to quickly explain the resources dashboard very, very quickly. Okay, so now you can see the dashboard, and you can go to the resources dashboard just clicking the subtopic you want. For example, I was like, now I was scared. You have like all the resources. They should look like prettier because, well, the style was different, but we had some problems yesterday merging our branches. So now is it in this way? But as you see, the columns have been moved. This is for the name. This is for a future feature that the user will be able to update the name in the same dashboard. You can also change the format if you made a mistake when inserting the resource. You can also change the priority. Maybe at the beginning was high priority, then it was a 5. You can set it out to low priority if this changes. This belongs to completed, this column, so you can also mark it. And the reminder column is just the feature Elizabeth explained, but as we still don't have it working, it's empty, the created date, and also the delete button if you just want to delete the resource. For example, if you remember, you had to save a URL, so you just click the name and it brings you to the resource you were expecting or you saved. And if it's not useful for you, you can delete it. And the nice thing is that you still see the updated list. This was something difficult to me to understand. And it's thanks to a use effect. Well, first, the list that it's just when you load the page is a use effect that we are using, just calling a method that it's called get resources. Is it in here? And this is the method. And the delete is the same. Once you delete the item, let me check, where is it? Sorry. In here, you do the action and then you ask to get the resources again. That's why it's updated. And finally, the user can also update the profile. This is mine, for example. And the nice thing is that if you change it, for example, I don't know, I want to add my surname, then you update it and you just see it on here. Is another use effect that you pass as a second argument the profile information. So every time this profile information is changed, the use effect runs and you get the info. I've explained it very quickly. I haven't showed the code, but I know we are running out of time. So from my side, that's it. And I don't know if there you want to wrap it like very quickly.
Sure, just 1 minute to wrap the whole project. First of all, the difficulties, like it's today everything works and everything is super cute, but actually we had a few challenges. The first one, as we mentioned several times, that at first we thought that we needed 4 tables, and then at the end we ended up with just 3. That was a whole process. Also the guards that we used, if I had time, I would explain it a little bit further, but we started with the main one, the user should be logged in. And then we realized that we wanted guards both for topics and resources to both check that if actually we want to update them or delete them, they have to be there. And also that they belong to a proper user, so that actually on your dashboard, you don't see the whole topics that are in a database, but actually only the topics that belong to that user. And we repeated the same logic for both topics and resources. And it's easy to say it, but actually to realize that we needed the things this way has been another process. And then another problem, like yesterday, I don't know if GitHub has some sort of sensor that can feel that it's the last day of a project, but yesterday was super difficult to actually merge the all the branches and synchronize them. Like at some point yesterday, we all had a different version of our project. So actually we lost time there. And if today you saw something different in the in our versions of like the styling mainly, that is the thing that you can see, is because of that. But that's how we have to learn more about branches eventually. But other than challenges, we also have a few successes. We are happy with the product that we just showed you, because you can implement this project, and of course there are future features that are interesting to add, but we had a goal and we reached that goal. So we are super happy. What we wanted to have, it's working now. So we're pretty good with it. And we are also super, super happy of how we worked, because none of us really enjoys group projects. And it was actually the first time that we had to work in a group of 4 people, and everything went super smoothly. Everything was flowing super good. And it's actually been a pleasure working with the other girls. And last but not least, we also wanted to thank both Nanette and Germinal, because they've been super patient and actually super available at any time. And they always understood what we needed at any time. So thank you very much. And thank you to my colleagues, of course, because it's been super nice.
Right, very good, very good. I'm going to save some comments for later. Okay, let's see the other group and then we wrap it up. All right, so the other group, whenever you're ready, you can start sharing.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Conscious with time, we would like to make our presentation in the high level, talking about our product, what we have learned and achieved so far. This has been our learning as well as productive producing journey for our team. We, the international team from various countries, none of us is in the same countries, but share one mindset to finish one product that we would like to show you. Our team, the project team, is Tomcoin, and as you can guess, it's something to do with time and it's something to do with currency. The team member is Noor. Noor is the organizer. She have a great sense of designs. She has a very good sense of order and put us together in a practical and order ways. Sename, the never quitter. She never gave up. And she contributed a lot on the backend developer, as a backend developer. She also brave enough to bring all of us into the idea of trying to do the chatbot in our project, which is very challenging. Sophia is a communicator. Not only that, she is the really good front-end developer lead. She also helping on the project deployment and the one who connect all of us together as a group. I myself, Suwana, I think the team would call me stubborn. I would like to call myself either go-getter or dreamer. I also enjoy doing backend and implementing wallet feature. First of all, have you ever asked yourself this question? Have you ever feel, now you can read it. Have you ever feel guilty to ask for help from your neighbor? Have you ever asked yourself what to do with the thank you present you receive? You know, something that they have to give you because you helped them, and what I'm going to do with it. Have you ever wished you could save your time to use later? If the answer is yes, you are not alone. Maybe you want to put some note in the chat to tell us what is your solution. But here is the solution we have for you. We call it Tomcoin. Tomcoin is a community for time bartering and banking tools. Our aim is to connecting people in the community together to sustainably support each other. Little help, helping people concept that we all have, but you couldn't really link and do it together because you don't really know everyone anymore. But the technology can link you all together, build a community so that they can support each other by offering their time, helping, and at the same time, now you can collect your time, you can save it for later when you need it. So before we go, my colleague is gonna go to all the project and show you how it works. I would also like to say that we will have a lot of time after this if you would like to know some more coding or anything behind the code, behind the apps. We are available on the CodeOp community that you can ask a question later. And the other ideas, what we would like to achieve today is for you to know about our apps, what it can do, and the potential that it could be. So we believe that this could be evolution that more community could connect by using Tomcoin. They can use it to grow their network, to support their own people, like-minded group or communities. So I would like to, in the future here, whatever hobby you are, you could present it as maybe the baker, but the baker support by Tomcoins, or the French learning group support by Tomcoins, whichever you would like to take this to. I would like to introduce Nor to now bring us, introduce us. Oh, sorry. Just, I think we don't have time now, but the idea was actually, I hijacked it from my daughter on one of the lockdown summer talk, discussing about how could we make better use of time. With that, I will release the floor to Nor to tell you about our project.
Hi all. So these last couple of weeks, we decided to, I'm going to just talk about the tools and technologies we use first for Tomcoin. So for the backend, we decided to SQLize MySQL and DB Designer to organize and create the backend. I'm going to say straight off, SQLize was a pain. My first time using it, as I'm sure like all my other colleagues in FS11. But we got through, we made it work, so that's great. In the front end, we use Bootstrap and Bootstrap for styling, Express to React.js and React Router, and Axios. And we used Pusher and Heroku for deployment. All things, or some things that were quite new to us, so had a little trouble with deployment, had a little trouble with styling, etc. But we made it work, and as a team, we're quite happy with our final products. So as you can see on the screen, oh, Soren, can you just go back for a second, please? Thank you. So instead of using Gitflow, we decided to use Excel just to organize, plan, and manage our day-to-day. We thought it was just easier. It was a platform that we're all accustomed to. So we decided to use this to prioritize our components, what we wanted to do every day. We created a must, should, and could list of what we had to do and which weeks we'd be working on each component. And we also divided it into front end and back end. So as a team of 4, we split the group up into 2 teams. backend and front end. I think we did it for the first couple of days of the first week, and then slowly into like the end of the first week and the second week, we swapped backend and front end so that we could have like a better view of how this app worked and to gain just like more knowledge and more insights, because this is a full stack development course. So carrying on from this, we created a user flow plan, and we did this manually. So Anna did this for us, and it helped us visualize the app, how we would create it, how the user would interact with the platform. I honestly think just by visualizing, it made everything so much easier, because this helped us know what things we were missing, what things were needed, and how the app would look overall. And after doing this, we actually moved on to the back end, where we used DB Designer to draw out our tables and our database. And for this slide, I'm just going to pass it over to Saname to talk a bit more about the database.
Hi, everyone. So what can I say? So this is just a schema about how all our tables are linked. So we've got user profile. So when you create your profile, you can actually, for example, I speak French, I can say, okay, I teach French. So somebody can make me a request. So that's why we have the request here that's linked to the user. And then you also have the services. So what I provide is a service, and then somebody else makes me a request that I can approve or decline. We also put all this in categories to be able to also like search through the services. And also the last table there, actually it's messages, it's not entitled. This was one of the last things that we actually tried to work on but couldn't complete. So we still have it in the back, like the relation. So normally, if you have a request, the request, when you request a service, it will actually trigger a message. So to be able to store everything and recognize it, we linked it to the request ID. So that's all for this. No?
Yeah, and after doing so, we were able to, like, it helped us integrate all our tables together, and we carried on by creating our endpoints. As you can see, there are only like a couple of endpoints here that I've shown you, but trust me, there's a lot more. We have lots of components. We need lots of endpoints. But just by doing this, I think it really helped us understand what we needed for each endpoint. We were able to, I think it definitely helped our code. And our code helped us see which components we needed and how everything was linked. And because of this, we were able to create lots of components. And I think we focused on a few main features that we really wanted for this app. One of the first things we did together was we created an authentication feature. This was to ensure that every user was able to register and log in. This was super important for us because the only way you could offer a service or request a service was if you were logged in. So this was really the main feature. So once you were logged in, then we created multiple other components such as the home page and the profile page, which Sophia will show you in just a second. So those are our main components, which allows you to be logged in. It shows you your services that you've offered, and it shows you all the services available for you to book and request. And I'm just going to talk about the last main feature, which is the wallet, because of course this is our app is called Tomcoin. Our currency is time, and we created a wallet and a balance for all of our users to be able to spend their time. And by logging in, you get a complimentary 1 hour free, just to incentivize you a little bit to offer a service and to book a service. And without further ado, I'll pass it on to Sophia to show you our app, Tomcoin.
Thanks, Nora.
Yay. Sophia, can I just add one sentence? While you listen to Sophia going through everything, I would like to take this opportunity to gather your comment. So please use chat telling us if you like it, will you use it, and any feature you would like us to add. Thank you. Sophia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Suana. Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna, I put the Heroku app in the chat, so feel free to follow along. This is our app, this is our homepage, the page that you can see once you are not logged in. So the idea was for you to be able to see what it is this about. Although you can see all the services, you can search for the service name, or you can search for the category, and then you can see. But since you're not logged in, if you click in here, you will be redirected to the login page. Like I mentioned, this is the Heroku version. Obviously, I can log in here. And okay. If you want to do so, feel free, please. The only thing I'm going to use localhost, because obviously something needed to break. And it's not actually break. Heroku has a problem with deploying images after you post for a while. So if I go to my profile, we added the default image so you can use, but we this is actually a working feature in our project. So I'm going to use it because it took us a while to get this done. And the only thing that I'm going to ask you, if you go to register, since we need the file, so you can put literally any file here if you want to proceed with the registration, and then you can use the app. But I'm going to be using this one here. So this is our home component if you're not logged in, but if I this remember me, actually, it doesn't really work right now, but it's here. But you can really be redirecting here to the register page. So you can click either here or here to create your account. And once you're logged in, you see that actually you can see more information about the services provided. So right now I can actually see the name of the person who offered the service and the location as well, which if you're not logged in, we didn't want to display this personal information. So we filtered this out. And now you can search for the location as well, obviously. You're not gonna work, right? Okay, no problem. Okay, so if I go to my profile, I can see my picture working, my profile picture. I can see the service that I provide. I can see my wallet in here, even though I can see my statement if I click. But this is just a brief, you can see at least the main things. So I have my balance. And the idea in the wallet was create a withholding. That is like if I request a service, if I book a service, my balance for that moment, it's compromised. So I said to the other person that I will request that service. So the idea in here is that, so even though I have 6, I don't know how to call it. I have 6 hours to spend. This is all hours. I can only spend 1. And if I go to the service that I provide, I can see how many requests I have for this service. I can see who requested, what is the message, when, to what date, and what time, and for how long is the service. I can text with the person, and this is for a future feature. Our chat, it's not fully working, even though the functionality is here. It's ready, just here waiting to be used. And right now, as you can see, my balance is 6. If I approve, the status will change to book. But as you can see, my balance won't change because it's not complete yet. I can decline, obviously. And when I complete, if I go to my profile, my balance is now 7. And I have 2 available funds to spend. Also, if I want to add a new service, I can go here and I can choose my category. Let's say housework, repairs, furniture, which by the way I really like to do. And I can send, and now I can see in my profile and will also be displayed in the home page so everyone can request. But obviously right now I have no request for the service. I just added. And I'm just gonna log out and log in as Swana. Oh, did I request a service? No, sorry. Oh God. Sorry about this. So let's say I want something to do with food. It's by time now. So I want, let's say, food. I want Thai food, and I want to do a request for tomorrow at this hour, and this will be for, I don't know, 1 hour. And I'm going to send my request. And okay, just let me log out here and log in as Swana. So if I go to Swana's profile, I can check for the Thai food service. I can see that I actually have 2 requests for this service. This is to edit the service or delete for complete. And this are all the requests that I have for this specific service. So this is the one that I just sent her. So everything is connected. And I think that's it for this, for the application. If I forgot something else, please remember me. I think that the main things that we struggle with, I think, was all these connections. So working with SQLize was both super helpful because you can get a huge amount of data at once and you can work with it. So once you learn how to do it, it can be very helpful, but the process can be very tough. But yeah, I guess that's it. The future features that we wanted to implement, it's obviously the chat that we couldn't finish, and we actually made room for it. It's almost there. It's probably like just a small thing that it's missing. Even in the backend, we are almost there. And the other thing, we would like to search by geolocation. So we want to use an external API to search by location as well. And also send email notifications once you receive a new request. So these are the future features that we would like to implement. And that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing here. And then I just want, pass over to Sename. I just want to say thank you to my colleagues that they were super, it was amazing to work with you. And thanks for all the support. And the girls can finish and wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, there's a protest outside, but all I wanted to say, I wanted to discuss like the challenges and the successes. So I would say the challenge, to be honest, was really just working as a group itself is a challenge, because we did have lots of, I would say, miscommunication. And we did have a poor time management as well. So we found ourselves the last few days trying to race to do some things. And then we just like last night, we were like, it's done. We have to accept it. So but still, we are very proud of what we did now. There's still a lot that we can implement in this app. So like she mentioned, geolocation, the chat has to be done, because we did actually start it a bit in the back, but when it came to adapting it from the lesson to adapt it to our project, that's where I think we need a bit more time and everything. And we had the pressure for the time. So, and then what else can I say? Well, what I would say that I liked in this project, liked and not liked, because it was really cool to work in the backend, But then when we decided to switch, that's when we realized actually we split backend and frontend and we didn't understand what the other side needed. So that's when as well we had to again go back and try to redo things. So yeah, I think it's something that we will learn with time, but for our first project that was really, really stressful. What else can I say? Well, I think that's it. So future features, I think they told you about, so live chat, real-time notifications and email notifications for when you have a request. Maybe you were thinking if somebody wanted to join the app and like sometimes you're not really sure about what you can actually offer to somebody, maybe do like a sort of guided questionnaire. So we can give ID to that person, what they could like offer. And then there was another one as well, the reviews. We wanted to give the user a possibility to review the service they got. So the other people can know if it's worth it or not, and maybe some ratings. So that's what we thought about for now. But then I think it is an idea that can be like developed much further. So any ideas are welcome. So anyway, anybody else want to say something? Well, I'd like to thank, like really, I think she's here. So Nigeria, Mamatek, she did help me through some things. And also, of course, the CodeOp community and all of my classmates in the group, and even from the other group, because I did, through this frustration, I did vent through to Amanda from the other group. So yeah, I'd like to thank everybody.
Yeah. Just to wrap up, you want to say that this is not the end for us. This is indeed our starting point. And as Sophia, No, and Sename mentioned, we still have a lot of features we want to go. So if anyone would like to volunteer or want to apply yourself to be our mentor, our advocate, or our investor, you're more than welcome. Any question, please let us know. We will be in CodeOp community. Just bring it on.
Very, very good, huh? Super good. All right, so those were the two presentations. I just wrote a few things down, but I think it's obvious, like very good work, everybody. Like the two groups, super good apps. I like how usable or how real life they feel to me. At least like I could really use both of them, okay? Because I do a lot of, I'm very old school, okay? And I do a lot of just bookmark the pages that I like. And if you see my Chrome, it's like I have 1 million articles that I haven't read about everything, you know, via React, all of this. And I can put these things in an Excel. I can open a Notion thing and just put it there, but just have something specifically for this and organize all the material that I want to read. And maybe then I want to share, maybe have the progress over this. So I do see myself using this. And obviously I also have ideas of how we could, or you could improve this and have features about, you can somehow make it a bit social network thing, like you can share things with others. You can have progress of all your subtopics and all of those, all that stuff. There's a million things that you can add, obviously. But I think you're off to a very good start. And also the other app, obviously, it's pretty obvious. It's also like a social network. You can just offer your time. You can do a few things. Sophia, it's good to know that you like to do furniture, you know, fixing stuff. I do like this very much as well. And as you just saw, I mean, it's a very complete app, but it's also an app that can grow like 1 million times. It's for all the things that you mentioned and a lot of other things that you probably didn't even think of, okay? So anyway, very good work, everybody. In terms of the technical stack that you use, I think that both projects are super complete. I hope you don't hate me for making you use SQLize. I didn't make you use SQLize. It was just a suggestion. But I would stick with Sophia's comments. She said that it's very hard at the beginning. I agree with you, but once you get the grasp of it, then your work is much faster and much better and more secure, more organized, more structured, etc. So hopefully you've learned many things, I hope, from this project. Obviously, first to work in groups, to collaborate, and that means obviously the human part, but also the fixing Git conflicts. If you remember, I told you that this project was about fixing Git conflicts mainly, okay? Working with branches, GitHub issues, etc. I hope you learned that there are many ways of solving a problem, and I've said this a few times, but okay, I'm thinking right now with about the topics and the subtopics of the first project, and you actually had to refactor this like 2 or 3 times, okay? And it's not bad, it's part of the process. You start with something and then you realize, actually, this is for the 2 groups. I don't know how many times you had to refactor your databases, both groups, because we realized we were repeating stuff and then we changed tables, we remove a table, we add another one, we change the columns all the time. That's part of the learning process, okay? And yeah, going back to the nested topics things, there's many ways of doing the same thing. You do it in the backend at database level. Do you bring it to the front end and you just construct your nested array? You can do it recursively, maybe. You know those topics that we show you during the first 5 weeks? They're not just isolated topics that you know and that's it. Those are like real tools that you might and want to use in the future. No? So hopefully you saw this a bit. You learned DB migrations, why we have them or why they are necessary, other than the actual tool, which is SQLized, the concept of a DB migration. You learn, all of you, a lot about authentication, which is not easy, but also it has much more than what it entails, because you have all the tokens, the backend routes, the frontend routes, the private routes, the guards, the redirections, and the history push, all of this. So there's a lot of things to learn, and I think both groups did it perfectly, okay? You worked with, you mentioned global state through React, the context API. You learned a lot of things about good practices. For instance, I'm thinking of the Tomcoin group separating the data service in the front end, because one problem that they had is that the backend wasn't ready. What happens if the backend is not ready and you need to grab information from the front end and the backend is not ready yet? So an option is to basically have build like a fake API on the front end, so you can use it while the backend is not ready. But those sort of things that could happen in real life, you should have managed to do them. No, you learn about refactoring the code. You start with something and you need to redo it a few times. Component reusability. Bea was talking about this. I have one. I'm showing this in more than one page, but I'm reusing the code so I don't repeat myself, which is something that I say all the time. Prevent repetition. Both groups deployed to Heroku. I'm very, very happy about this, even though you had a few last-minute problems. So in one group, the mail thing, it's not really your fault. It's just that for security stuff, maybe there's something that you have to enable in Heroku or just use another server for the mailing service. But all the logic was there. So that's very good. And also the other problem that the second group mentioned about the images not deploying correctly to Heroku. But that's just either because we're not paying, we're not using the paid version, or some limitations. But both groups deployed, which it happens very rarely that everybody could deploy, and I'm very happy about this. And then last but not least, I think, and I hope that you figure out how to learn things on your own, because everybody did this. We did help you a bit, but probably not that much, especially the last week. My feeling anyway is that every group was just working on their own. You were doing your stuff, you were Googling stuff, and maybe once a day you required our help for a little thing. But I'm quite proud of how you did all those things on yourself, okay? Including new features like the password reset that we hadn't done, or the cron jobs, or the private channels in Pusher, which was a pain, I know, Cinnamon, and we couldn't finish it at the end, but you're quite there, and all of those things you just learn and read on your own, which is very good. And that's it. MFA, please. I want to shut up. Just you say something.
Okay. Thanks for putting me on the spot, but Congratulations, everyone. I was just telling someone at the beginning of this year, 1st January, you probably wouldn't have imagined that you'd be here today doing this. And like from your first week, like everybody has gotten so fancy using all like the fancy terms and all of that. But it's really heartwarming to see how far you've come, and even like the confidence presenting all that you have. So like it's so much hard work, and you should be proud. Like today, you shouldn't do anything, just go off and, you know, have a beer if you can, or like, you know, have a drink, go out if you can, because you've worked so hard. Good job, everyone.
All right. Anybody else? Nanette, Tai, you want to say anything?
Yeah. I just want to say that you guys have done like a tremendous job with both your apps, and I want to commend you guys for also being like very independent, because you asked for help, but I think the help that you asked is like guided help. In as much as you asked, like you're able to also figure out a lot of things on your own. So I'd like to like commend everybody for that. And what kept coming up in like a lot of the things that you're asking us, oh, how do I know how to do this? Or how you will get there eventually. It's all just like experience and practice. So please don't beat yourself up. Like if you don't find the answer to something, just know that like eventually you will get there. But yeah, I'm super proud of you guys and good work on your projects.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if anybody has another question. I know that some people from the other the part-time groups watching. Hopefully you inspire them as well. That's it. The last thing that I'm going to say is that also you hopefully realize that you have just, I think Suana said this, you have just like scratched the surface. Like I think you start having the basis of how everything works and connects. And hopefully you can see the potential of the things that you can build with obviously more time. Also, you have built these apps in like just 2 weeks, which is not a lot of time. But if you have this big picture of, okay, I start understanding everything, all the parts of the process. Well, that's how every product is built. And a bigger product is just going to need more database tables and more endpoints. But in terms of complexity, it's not that much, if you know what I mean. Okay, it's just putting the right pieces together and maybe more security, maybe more layers. But I think you have all the basics, and I think and I hope that this is exciting to you. All right, that's it. Very good job, everybody. Okay, take some rest today. Have a drink if you want. You still have 1 week to go. Okay, the last week, career preparation. But I think you should be very proud of yourselves. You did a tremendous job up until this point. Okay, so a little applause. And that's it. I'm going to close this, and we'll see you on Monday. All right. Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.